Turning ambition into action can feel overwhelming, and even if you have great ideas that you know that you're destined for, that for some reason that initiative is not enough. Ambition is wonderful, like I said, may not be enough. But what if you have a great idea and you're frustrated because you just don't know what to do? Well, just recently, I went to a weVENTURE event, and this was actually my second event, and it was the first time that I actually reached out to Kathryn Rudloff. She is the executive director of the weVENTURE, who was sponsoring this event that was just so phenomenal. It was great to celebrate women, and although there were some incredible men there, but it was just so wonderful to be around women that are entrepreneurs, that are doing things, they're just taking their vision and they're turning it into their careers to helping others. So I thought, you know what, wouldn't it be wonderful? Because I know that we've talked about health and wellness, we've talked about so many different things, but I don't think we've ever talked about taking our visions and making it turning into a plan. And that's what weVENTURE does. And so we're thrilled. I am thrilled to have Kathryn Rudloff. She is the executive director of weVENTURE. And I am excited for her to share how they're helping entrepreneurs, women, be able to go beyond that idea and turning it into their vision and their dream. And I know that there are going to be many of you that are going to want to learn everything you possibly can. So get your paper, your pencils, because we're going to take lots of notes and learn together.
And when you need a friend, you can count on me. I'll be right here waiting for you.
Hi, my name is Lily McDermott, and I am a certified life coach, a certified holistic cancer coach, and the host of the Lily McDermott radio show Classroom. If this is the first time in the classroom, please know I've been waiting for you. This is a safe place where you can go when you need a friend. It is my commitment to provide natural ways to heal, and it is my mission to make awareness, responsibility, and truth a part of our everyday life. And I hope you, my listening, as well as my viewing friend, will feel empowered to embrace a new truth and live the life of your dreams. Well, as I mentioned, when I went to the events that weVENTURE puts together, it was so empowering that I thought, we are so in alignment that I need to get Kathryn Rudloff in the classroom. And here she is. And so we're going to be talking about what you can do to take your action, your vision into your life purpose. And since it is our sole purpose in life to give and receive love and knowledge, I am grateful that Kathryn Rudloff is here to do just that. Welcome, Kathryn, to the classroom.
Thank you, Lily, for having me. It's good to be here with you today.
Yes, and I am excited that you are here because, it's been a long time coming. 14 years that I've talked about health and wellness, but I really haven't talked about the passions that we have for our careers, our desires to help people, and you live that every day. Share a little bit about yourself and how you chose this for your career.
Um, so weVENTURE Women's Business Center is a program of the Florida Tech BIS College of Business. And we provide free business coaching, low and no cost business education, training, and mentorship to entrepreneurs from the Space and Treasure Coast. So we serve all of Brevard, Indian River, St. Lucie, down into Martin County. Since 2007, we've been a program of the university funded in part by a grant from the U.S. Small Business Administration. Now, my background is more in, I have a master's degree in political management, and I used to run campaigns and work in strategic political advisement, and then got into small business advocacy for several years as a consultant while I was raising my family. And when the position at weVENTURE opened, it was something, it's kind of funny and ironic. I had been at that point a stay-at-home mom for about 10 years after having, a great early career in my 20s, and had, been a stay-at-home mom and was really ready to get back out in the world. And like, I'm ready to go back full time. Consulting was great, but I wanted to be back in the office. And the idea of being around all these women and starting to, pivot from just general small business advocacy to very focused on helping female entrepreneurs, I jumped at the opportunity. But truly, God just laughed at me because that was January of 2020. And so I had really a great 2 months out and about in the world and kind of getting to know the weVENTURE network. And then, like that, the world shut down and we went into kind of the pandemic era. And it was at that time that I really recognized that I was the right person for this job because I'd previously worked in Washington, in the House of Representatives, and had been a part of helping kind of like communicate policy out to constituents and kind of what's happening in Washington and helping communicate that out. Now at weVENTURE, I got to be kind of the boots on the ground for the SBA. And so if you can imagine, Congress gave additional funding to women's business centers all around the country so that we could help navigate through this crisis. And really, I credit a lot of the growth that our program has had because of my predecessors. Since 2007, this had been a program, but people knew they could turn to us, they could count on us. We were able to help in one 12-month period, almost 1,800 unique businesses, whether it was applying for PPP or, reimagining what their strategic plans were going to be. Florida, as you know, we quickly went from being shut down to booming because everybody else was coming here and we were open for business. So it was kind of this very quick pendulum swing from, oh my gosh, what are we going to do, to, oh my gosh, I'm busier than I've ever been. And so I'm really excited for the opportunity to teach anybody who's listening in your audience about the programs and the services that we offer, because we are committed to helping women achieve their ambition. We like to say our motto or our mission is to ignite the economic power of women. So in addition to supporting entrepreneurs, we do a lot of leadership development and support for just professional women, whatever phase of your career you're in or position. Our goal is to really help women be more confident in the workplace, in leaders, again, whether owning their own business or building their own career.
Well, I have been very impressed with your organization, and I want to support you guys in anything that you do. Just recently, I myself signed up for some coaching, and your coaching program is letting me see some of the things that I'm doing that do not return money or my investment. And I've been a business owner since 2000 and oh gosh, 2012, 2000, no, 2010. What am I thinking? 15 years. And the different things that I've added to my life. And every time I would speak to you, say, you need to do some coaching. Well, how much is that coaching? It's free. And so explain how people get involved, how to do, what are some of the different ways that women who maybe don't even have a business plan, but have a desire to be in business of their own. Maybe just like you have a family that they want to raise, and they have the skills from raising a family, but maybe not the skills to be hired by a company that's worth their time.
Okay, that again, that's a lot to unpack here, what you're putting out there. So I'll start with this. Our business coaching is free, and it is available to, again, clients from Brevard, Indian River, St. Lucie, down into Martin County. So anybody, whether you're pre-business and you've just got an idea and I'm thinking about starting a business, or you have already dove head in, maybe you've got that skill or that talent and you went ahead and started the business, you've got clients, you're growing. Now all of a sudden you're like, I don't really know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And we find that's often the case because most entrepreneurial people, they're good at what they do and they don't have an MBA, they don't even have a BA, they don't even have an AA, right? They don't really have, they've never taken a business class that they understand the fundamentals or the process of what running a successful, sustainable business. And that's always our goal, is a sustainable business. Now, one of our commitments that we have at weVENTURE is that no matter how big or small your goal is for your business, we want to help you achieve that. So as you alluded to, many women, in fact, the majority of women do turn to entrepreneurship to monetize their time and talent in a more efficient manner. So traditional wage labor, working that 9 to 5 job or more, is often not compatible with the current demands of raising a family. And so many women, in fact, the largest growing segment of new business starts are women who are the heads of household at the lowest income quartile, and then the women who are heads of household at the highest income quartile. So whether you are highly educated and you're like tired of that corporate grind and you can't do it, or whether you are a lower wage worker who's struggling to make ends meet, with that minimum wage or barely above minimum wage job, entrepreneurship, either as a side hustle or I like to focus a lot on the solopreneurs, just I can do the product or I can do the service to monetize my time and talent, solopreneurship, where you have no other employees. It allows them to manage their schedule, have more control, to have more flexibility then in their working hours and say, I can do this when I can get it done, and kind of reduce the conflict between their work and home life responsibilities. And then, unfortunately, for many women, entrepreneurship does become the side hustle to just supplement their income. They are still working a traditional wage labor job full time, and then they are starting, an entrepreneurial endeavor, whether as a creative outlet or that financial support to be a second stream of income. So again, weVENTURE, whatever their financial goals are, usually within the first session or two of meeting with a business coach, our coaches are going to do, as you probably experienced with Kathy, really a strategic assessment, usually the business model canvas and lots of questions to make sure
Yeah.
you understand your business, to make sure we understand your business, and to make sure we both can identify your key challenges and opportunities that you need help with right now, and then try to get an idea of what your goals are for the organization. And one of the things that's most important that we do is really personalizing that support.
Hmm.
We do offer a few different, like what I would call programs and classes. For example, our Pathways Business Launch class, we have a new cohorts beginning in just a couple of weeks. We offer that several times a year in both English and Spanish, and that's a 4-week virtual seminar style class that just goes over the fundamentals of starting a business. And so we will drive a lot of clients, maybe if they're pre-venture and they're thinking about starting a business, or if they've just started within the last year, to go through that class, because they're going to get all that fundamental so that they have a solid foundation on which to build their business. And then we have other programs, our Ignite 360 business mentoring and our Ignite 360 peer groups, where established businesses will still get personalized support. We will put you with a specific coach or a team of mentors to work with you on specific outcomes that are important to your business. So everything that we do, again, is to kind of meet the women where they're at. If the goal is to pay for the kids' summer school or college tuition, great. We want to help you get that extra, however many thousands of dollars. If your goal is to build a brand and you want to franchise it one day and you want to be in every grocery store, great. We want to help you dream big and get your product and business, up to there, and then everywhere in between.
How do you match the coach with an
It's a great
individual?
question. Yeah. So, Kathy Register on my team that you spoke with, she is our Ignite 360 program director, and she, in that role, manages our business coaches and our business mentors. So she actually does most initial consults and will get that sense of, what is the capability level of this entrepreneur? Where in the business life cycle are they? Are they just getting started? Are they more established? What are the key problems or issues that they're facing? And then, so it's kind of a triage approach. She will then say, great, it sounds like you would be a really good fit for, Jeanette on our team, who works with more established businesses that are looking to strategically grow or facing some, challenges in their business and maybe need to rethink their operations. Or if you were coming to us and you were brand new, she might say, oh, I'm going to introduce you to Sunday Lima. And she's our business coach. She's our bilingual business coach. But she is really a compassionate former teacher and educator, in addition to business owner and MBA. But she helps teach people. So she's really great with our startup and those that are just getting started, kind of walking them through the steps. And then we have a host of other coaches, folks that specialize in marketing and finance. We have somebody that we always try to keep on that's dedicated for those who are trying to get lender ready. If you're really getting ready to, your business needs a capital infusion, there's not a lot of grants that are out there. You're an SBA loan or small business loan, getting a line of credit is your best opportunity to invest and grow in a business. So
Mhm.
we want to make sure you have a business plan and market research done so you put your best foot forward when you walk into those lender offices. So we kind of have coaches depending on what you need, and that triage effect for us works well. We help probably about 1,000, just around 1,000 unique clients a year.
Wow.
Probably 5 to 650 of those are coaching clients, and then several hundred that overlap with them, and then additional several hundred that are just training that come to our webinars or our in-person seminars. So yeah, we're a busy organization. We keep our team very busy.
No, it's amazing what you guys do. It really is. When I sat with Kathy and I was listening to her, you know, she wants me to focus right now on my best return on my investment. What am I doing right now? And that's a question that we can ask in every aspect of our life. How am I wasting my time not doing the focusing, not focusing on what I really want to accomplish? And it was so funny. I came back from that meeting and because my husband, he's got a master's degree in organizational development and change. And so he's always saying to me, you work so hard, but make so little. And
Yep.
and you invest so much time on this. And it's because I'm very passionate about the classroom. But is it keeping me from my marketing business? And so those are the questions that are tough to answer. So what are some of the things that you encounter as a coach or your other coaches encounter as obstacles to getting that vision, that ambition into action?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think from the first moment I met you, I was kind of like reiterating what I know Kathy is following up with you. I do this and I do this and I do this and I do this.
Yes.
And maybe that's the definition of ambitious, right? Like I can do it all, right? And the difference between having a mindset of I want to do all the things and I'm interested and I want to pursue all the things and building a business is saying I want to do something that's going to generate enough revenue to meet my financial goals, whatever that
Hmm.
sustainability,
Hmm.
is, and set some specific impact and outcome. If you don't measure it, you can't possibly know what outcome you're having. And unfortunately, for many entrepreneurs like yourself, when they fall into things and, oh, I could do this, I could do that, I could do that. And before you know it, you wake up and you are um, spread thin,
Yeah.
are distracted. And so, one of the first things we really encourage folks to do is that business model canvas and some basic tell me about your business. You
Yeah.
should be able to tell me what you do, how you do it, who your key customers are, what your key value proposition to those customers are. And you should be able to do that in 2 minutes or less.
Hmm.
And when we meet clients like you, who I'm talking to you for 10 or 15 minutes, and wow, you're doing a lot, we need to get that focus in because
Yes.
the ROI is should drive everything you do. You should know the cost of how much, not just, oh, it doesn't cost me anything. I pay whatever for Zoom a year and I do all that. And, okay, but how much
No.
time are you
Yeah.
putting into it? And is that taking away, if you bill X number per hour, and then that's taking away from your opportunity to have billable hours because you're spending time here, you're really losing money in that sense. So having every entrepreneur quantify, measure, and make sure that we help them understand that. And I would say the biggest hurdle that we overcome is that people love what they do and they
Yes.
are passionate. And like you love, oh, but I'm helping people and I want to connect with people, and that's so important. And when you have financial stability, and you're not as worried about maybe paying rent, overhead, right? If you're working from home, okay, check, that's easy. I don't have that many overhead bills. It's easy to kind of slip down that slope of spinning your wheels. Whereas when you are in a position where every penny, every minute, every dollar needs to be accounted for, it's a lot easier to help people focus. So
Yeah.
I would say it, and it's not a capitalistic thing. Earning money is not a bad thing.
No. Yeah.
We all have needs that we have to meet. And so working, as the saying goes, working smarter, not harder, but it starts with those hard truths of really quantifying and visualizing out what you're doing and what is that return, what is the value, how is this serving the ultimate goal of your business. And we probably spend at least 3 sessions, 2 to 3 sessions with a client making sure they understand that. And
Yeah.
if we can get them to accept that, then we can talk about, okay, well, what should we be doing next? Where should you be focusing your time to help you meet your defined goals. So as you go through, I'd love to hear back from your process as you work through it and kind of where your focus might end up taking you and a couple months from now or a year from now, where your endeavors end up.
Well, Catherine, I plan on having you back more and more because I really believe, and as I said at the beginning, we focus on health and wellness, mindset, and all these things that are very powerful. But I don't think I've ever done a class on being an entrepreneur or managing your business, or even because we can take these principles with our own life and
Mhm.
manage our own life. Because I know that so many people that I coach spend a lot of time saying, "Oh, I just don't have any time," but they'll spend a lot of time
Oh,
wasted
waste
on
time.
social
Oh, yeah,
media.
all
Oh,
over.
yeah. Well, what did you do today that kept you from, writing this letter or doing this, or what kept you from exercising? What kept you? But but the thing is that passion. There are so many aspects of who I am. I am Lily, the mom, the daughter, the sister, the friend, but I'm also the coach and the career woman and the person who wants to have a thriving business. And if I am focusing on the heart and I'm not focusing on the money, it'll get out of balance. It's just like if you might be great at your career, but you have a horrible marriage. It all ties in together. And so that awareness, going to your event, the Wine Women in Shoes, which is phenomenal, by the way. If any of you in Brevard County or in the local areas that want to come, and people can come even if they're not from Brevard County,
Oh
right?
yeah, it's a fundraiser. Anybody who wants to buy a ticket,
Let
welcome.
me, I'm
Yeah.
telling you, it's worth the time. And you get to meet the energy in the room is so the feeling is empowerment. People are there wanting to make a difference, not just for everybody else, but in their own lives. And I think that we as caregivers, caretakers, we forget about ourselves. So I'm hoping that maybe we can do like a little series of, what to look for because, what are some of the questions that we should ask ourselves with our career right now. Like if we're unhappy with our career, that's a no-brainer. But if we love our career and not making the return on our investment, what are some of these questions that we can ask ourselves to kind of refocus?
Well, again, I focus for anyone who comes through our door is you have to be willing to recognize and be honest with yourself.
Hmm.
What are your financial needs that you need to
Yeah.
meet? And that is a non-negotiable because think of in Maslow's hierarchy of needs, if we are not sheltered, if we are not fed, if we don't have the resources to cover those basic income, there's no point in talking about this higher level of self-actualization, and social well-being. So we need to understand what is it really that you need to make in salary or in revenue or income. And a lot of women, unfortunately, they come and they start their business or they think they're going to start entrepreneurship and right off the bat say there's going to be a give back component. Oh, I'm doing this because I want to help this cause and 10% of every sale, everything I do is going to go to this charity. Well, I'm just speaking very bluntly, there's not many businesses that have a 10% profit margin. So if off the bat you're saying, I'm giving away 10% of what I do to this charity, you will never fully fund and support yourself and what you're trying to build. So a better mentality is to really understand what do I need? How can I focus the work and the time and the energy that I have in a way that will strategically bring in those resources that I need? And then think of how generous and giving I can be once my family and my, equality, basic needs are met. And then comes a whole different level. When you've grown a business and you start becoming responsible for other people and you've got staff, it takes on a very different focus because every hour of every day, it's not just, wow, I need this so that my family can sustain. I'm responsible for my employees' health and well-being. I'm responsible for bringing in enough revenue so that their families are healthy and well. And so that pressure for many entrepreneurs is a 24/7 in the back of your mind mentality. And it's very easy for us to distinguish between entrepreneurs where this is a lifestyle company, this is a fun creative outlet, and I'm doing this just for fun. And people who are building a business because they have that mindset of, I am building something that's going to support myself and my employees and potentially even help, the clients and then the people that we're working with. It's very easy to tell those two apart. And there's nothing wrong with building a lifestyle business. We love to help women find their creative outlet and earn some of that pocket money and the side money. But the folks that are motivated to build a business that's going to sustain themselves and grow, they're the ones that really roll up their sleeves and they're getting serious. They want to make sure they understand basic accounting principles and their cash flow. They're laser focused on their ROI of every single interaction that they have. And so getting folks kind of to decide which way are you at and helping us understand at the beginning. I can't answer that for an individual. It's something they've got to come to terms with on their own. And unfortunately, for many people, they think they want a lifestyle business, but in order to have the lifestyle they want, they need to think like an operational growth
Mhm.
minded business because the lifestyle business will not produce the revenue that they need to have the lifestyle that they want. And so at some point, they've got to accept, like, I either need to get serious and run this like a business, or it's actually more time efficient to go get a traditional wage labor job and be able to tune out and check out at, after 5 p.m. because I'm just spinning my wheels working so hard, but not actually getting
Yes.
the ROI.
It's no different than being a stay-at-home mom. I remember when I was a stay-at-home mom, I would wake up 1 to 2 hours before our children would wake up because I felt like I was the CEO of the family unit and I treated it somewhat like a business. And so, but many stay-at-home moms wake up, not that I'm criticizing it, but many stay-at-home moms wake up with their kids. And then how do you make up all that lost time? When your children are little, they are your focus. And unfortunately, many of us, as we go back into the workforce, have this mentality that perhaps maybe my skills that I learned as a stay-at-home mom aren't transferable. I felt my skills, I was a volunteer, I did a lot of different things, as you can imagine, that contributed to some of the things that I do today that were on the job kind of training. And when I think about the mindset of a mom that wants to get back into career, what are some of the ways that you help women coach them into, that not being enough or fearful that they're not going to,
Sure.
how do you integrate people back into the workforce?
Yeah. Well, I think you and I probably had a very similar approach. I had a dream job, and when I stepped away just to try to get pregnant, because both my husband and I had very demanding, high travel jobs, and at some point we recognized one of us had to be available if we actually wanted to have children, and I had to bring my stress level down and let my body get there. And so it was really hard to walk away. What felt like was a dream job, absolutely loved my career trajectory, but I wanted to have a family, so I was happy to do it. And when I left the workforce, I actually created a business in LinkedIn called the Rudloff Home. And I gave myself the title of the Executive Vice President of Home Operations. And I had my mommy blog that leaned into talking about how just because I'm not working doesn't mean I wasn't spending my time doing something valuable, because I did then become quite an active community volunteer. And then once the children actually came, got very involved in our local Mothers of Preschool organization and our junior league and the Haven for Children. Like, you found other ways to get involved. And I used that. And this was before LinkedIn, actually. It was only, I think, 2022 that they allowed for a gap in work where you could explain caregiving or sabbatical or home. Prior to that, you kind of got creative like I did and created this business, this home operations, and listed it. But it's still on my LinkedIn, and I still list, some of the skills and the volunteer opportunities that I did because it was contributing to my learning. It was me putting to use the skills that I had for a different, not-for-profit endeavor. But I was proud of it, and I was proud of those years that I was home. And when we have women that come to us, I always prefer to talk to women before they stay home so that they have that mindset that you're not taking a break, you're focusing your energy on a different side of our societal stool. Our economy does not stand up on the two legs of labor and business. There is this third leg of our economy that is the family and the home life. And so much of the unpaid work, caregiving work that happens in our country really is helping hold up our economic productivity as a nation. And we need to value women and teach women from a young age that if that is the opportunity or the choice or the position that you find yourself put in, to view it with pride and say, I am learning significant management and planning and strategy. I'm learning, budget and financing, because if you're down to one income, we know how to coupon cut and make every dollar count and do the discount travel and wait for the Groupons. Like, you're learning cash flow management,
Mhm.
all of those things. And so even if that's not what you studied, a business degree, you're getting kind of like a little boot camp when you become a stay-at-home mom.
You
And
know,
my favorite way to help women re-enter the workforce is to help them look back and just list out some of the skills that they learned. What did you learn from being in the home that you didn't have before, that
yeah.
wasn't part of what your training or your background or your work experience had given you, and what did you learn? And once they view themselves that way, it's a lot easier to march into an interview with a little confidence, in your step of saying, this is how I've grown over these last few years, in addition to producing and raising, little people.
Yeah, no, I called myself that gap that you were talking about, the executive director of the McDermott household. And I put on there all the different things, and it was amazing. I mean, I helped build, I was capital campaign, helped the fundraising for our church that was building a church. And we raised like $6 million, or actually 4 million out of the 6 million that we needed.
Yeah.
And so I started looking at the different things, and these are all skills that are transferable. But like you said, that mindset is so important that when you're going into raising your kids, you tackle it as, okay, would I just show up in my pajamas at work? I would never do that. Would
Yeah.
you? I don't think anybody would. So why would we treat the same way
I
when
think
our
the
children?
pandemic taught us some people would be thrilled to. So if they could every day, they would. Yeah.
Yeah, it was dressed from the waist up.
Yep. Yeah.
That was exactly what happened during the pandemic. These are skills that we talk about here in the classroom. And one of the reasons why I love this is my passion. This is my ministry. And so when I do the classroom, I just want everybody to know that this is where we take ownership. So go to whenyouneedafriend.com. When you go to whenyouneedafriend.com, please subscribe to our website, like and follow me on all social media. You know the drill. You know what to do. Share this video with all your friends. I mean, I'm sure that you know someone that you keep saying, let's go into business together. Let's go into business together. But if you live in this area, you could possibly tap into these tools. And so I am just excited that we're looking at every spirit, mind, and body, at every aspect. We take ownership for our life, responsibility. I want to encourage you to check out my sponsors, and for those of you who are donors of the classroom, if it weren't for you, we could not survive. So I am so grateful for of you who are students of the classroom, enrolled students in the classroom, that you make a commitment to help us continue this mission. And I'm very grateful for that. Go to check out my sponsors, check out all the Lily approved products in my Shop Now bag that will help the classroom grow as well, and help you be from organic makeup that has no toxins or no chemicals, all the way to being pain-free. Those are all choices that we can make that will help our body thrive as well. And as I said, an enrolled student in the classroom, check out all the different ways that you can help, whether it's like sharing your time, your talent, your treasure, donating, whatever you can. We are very grateful. And I want to encourage you to check my workshop to find out what is going on in the classroom that you can tune into. There's always something going on. Today we have Kathryn Rudloff from weVENTURE. And let me tell you, I am so sorry that this hasn't been my focus, that I haven't brought this concept of that action for our career. I've always been focusing on, in different things, spirit, mind, and body, but really haven't honed in. And I'm so grateful to you, Kathryn. You could be anywhere, but you chose to be here. How can we help weVENTURE? Because I really do want to talk about the tools and how to tap into reaching out and how do we do that for you? Because I think that if we qualify in the area, if we qualify in the local area, we can tune in to weVENTURE in Brevard County. But if there are other areas, weVENTUREs in other universities and colleges, how can we tap in?
Okay, so I think I understand the question. So
Mhm.
weVENTURE is an independent organization, and we
Okay.
are a program of the BIS College of Business. But
Mhm.
there are 155 other women's business centers around the country. So the U.S. Small Business Administration does provide that WB, or they have, that's a separate story. I'll get into how you can help us. Since 1989, they've provided the Women's Business Center grant to fund centers like weVENTURE all around the country. And at each of these centers, we are independent organizations, but we do have the free business coaching and low and no cost business education and training. How we might do that is very responsive to our community needs. In fact, the federal grant requires local investment from the community so that we really are a public-private organizational model where we are very reflective of what the community needs. So if you can imagine here on the Space Coast, we do focus a little bit more on government contracting, definitely more on aerospace than other parts of the country might, right? Because that's very reflective of our local economic needs. My good friend who runs the Women's Business Center North Dakota, they do a lot more in both agriculture and surprisingly a lot of tourism and a lot of e-commerce because people are doing things there and then they're selling and shipping out online to larger markets available. So every WBC in whatever community you're in or near can help you, with your goals. Again, we all have that same, free business coaching focus. Here at Florida Tech and at weVENTURE, the biggest way that we get support from the community is fundraising, right? So we have what we call investors. Our equity partner investors give over $2,500 a year or more. So those are more of our corporate, larger sponsors that are kind of giving back. We have a lot of financial institutions that believe in the work we do and like to partner with weVENTURE to help grow the small business economy. And as I mentioned, get businesses ready to be lender ready. That's what the banks love to see when they have good businesses come to them. Or if they have to say no, they like to refer clients back. Hey, we're not able to help you yet. Go get some coaching, work on your business plan at weVENTURE, and then come back and we'll see if we can support you. We have an impactful $1,000 a month level, our League of Extraordinary Investors, and that's kind of philanthropic giving and more small businesses. A lot of clients who've graduated from our programs then join the League as a way to give back. And then we do have an opportunity for just small dollar monthly recurring, whether it's $10, $25, all of that goes to help support our programming. And we do special events throughout the year, like the Wine Women in Shoes. That's our signature fundraiser. And in a couple weeks, we're hosting our Impact Summit Business Leadership Conference. That's a half day. And so for those type of events, we'll get some sponsors, we'll get some, do some raffles. And so we try to turn everything in as a way to generate some program income. And we do offer a whole line of services that are fee for service. And that's for more established businesses, usually that are looking for more strategic support. Consider us a very affordable consulting agency. So that's that Ignite Business Mentoring Program and our Ignite CEO or executive peer groups. And then just in the last year, we've partnered with some of the other resources available at Florida Tech's Vertex Applied Innovation Hub. And so we've created what we call the Tech Accelerator program that combines our business mentorship with the equipment and expertise that are available at Vertex to help more innovative high-tech companies, which while we've helped in the past a few, it hasn't really been a strategic focus of ours. So now that partnership with the other department in the university, we're spending a little more time focusing on businesses of that nature.
That's wonderful. It is wonderful. The coaching that you are providing, especially I've just gone to the one with Kathy, and I know that I'm taking a little break from it because I'm going on vacation. I just came back from vacation, and so but I plan on resuming because I found it I'm very curious as to why I do what I do. What drives me, and how can I take that drive into making dollars more than what I do, just to break even. I want to go beyond breaking even. So that's my goal, and
That's
I'm
a good
and
goal to have to grow your business, grow your revenue. That sounds like a
That's
great
right. That's
goal to
right.
have.
But I'm sure you also have a passion for this, and all your coaches have had experiences where you've taken someone who just didn't know what to do into a booming business. Can you share some of the applications that you've taught that have created certain businesses that you have been associated with, or maybe some of your coaches have been that they've shared? Oh my gosh, look at
Sure.
this, listen to this story.
Sure. So one of um, our favorite success stories just took a recent, even more exciting turn that we couldn't have predicted. So several years ago, it's actually one of our male clients because we do help men and women, right? We're women's business center, but we help all entrepreneurs. So we had a gentleman who is a creative, maybe very similar to you because he, was into marketing and he wanted to build a marketing business and he's trying to build a marketing business. But being that creative type, he was all over the place, right? And so he wasn't focused. So he had already been established. So he went through our Ignite 360 business mentoring program, not once, not twice, but three different times at different growth levels. And the first time was really helping him become a better operational manager and understand his finances, understand how a marketing business was actually working and where that cash flow problem was coming into that you're doing work, but you're delaying payments, and how are we going to make that work? And once he understood the financial management and the business side of the creative work that they were doing, then it was focusing on operational growth because he was able to actually get more clients and grow and hire more people. And then eventually he was at another growth inflection point where they purchased, or maybe it was a very long-term lease and had the opportunity to grow into a big space and they were diversifying what they were offering with actual studio and production space. And I'm really excited to say that, we were a part of his story at every growth point that he faced. And most recently, he decided he's so passionate now about the finances and understanding how to manage your business. He's gotten a certification and he has now sold his business. He found a buyer and sold his business. And he now is consulting and going around and helping other clients understand their business and their
Wow.
operations. Like
Wow.
whatever groups he was joining, CEO peer groups and some marketing things, he was always telling people, no, I can help you, I can help you. And now he's turned that into a business for himself. And so I think that's a really great example how even somebody who comes into us and is very intimidated and thinks that they can't handle a business, we will work with you. We will find coaches that will be patient and will help you. And if you are eager and willing to learn, I promise you can understand how to actually the mechanics of running your business so that you can do so confidently. That is our goal, confidently and achieve sustainable growth. We don't want anyone to burn out. We don't want anyone working so hard for so little return. We want to help you, run your business confidently and achieve sustainable operations.
How long did it take this man from the three different times that he went to the Ignite 360? That's 360, right?
Probably over a
Uh,
decade, over a decade. Yeah. I
10
mean,
years. You see,
yeah.
that's the thing, patience. We need to have that focus and, it'd be nice if we could run a 24, mile, a marathon. It would be great if we could run a marathon in a week. I mean, a few days or an hour or whatever, compared to, building a business that takes time. And, if you were to run a marathon in 5 minutes, then it wouldn't be a marathon. If you had that expectation. So how do you work with these expectations? There's this guy, he did it three times. This is a great example. Went to the Ignite 363 times. Each time learned something different. Now he's increased, he sold his business. Now he's doing all these other things. So what can you tell somebody that has this mentality that I want to run a marathon in 2 minutes?
Well, the mentality is that you have to understand what the next right thing is. So first by defining what it is that your business does, who do you serve, what is your value proposition, setting some goals for yourself, and then everything that you do should be measurable and achievable. If you wake up and you feel like I'm just doing whatever inbox came or whatever client called me and that's where you're responding to, you're not operating strategically, you're operating responsively. So it is a mindset shift in helping every entrepreneur understand what it is that they want to do, understanding how they do it. So one of our goals is always just to make sure people absolutely understand their time, their value of their time, what their ideal customer client segment is so that they can focus their work and their effort on meeting those strategic goals so that they are acting proactively and strategically and not just responsively.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us today. If people want to get a hold of you or weVENTURE, what's the best way to do that?
Absolutely. So the best way is to go to weVENTURE, weventure.fit.edu. On our website, you can view and read more about the wonderful programs and services that we offer. On the right-hand side of our homepage, you can either click the new client registration button, get registered and request that first initial free consultation with a business coach. There's also a button where you can view our upcoming training and event schedule. So all of the webinars, seminars, or special events like the Impact Summit or Women Who Rock or Wine Women in Shoes, we post those all there. And that's really the best way to stay connected. We do send out a newsletter every Friday that kind of lists our upcoming training and events and encourage you to sign up for that as well.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for coming into the classroom. I'm looking forward to the next time that you're going to be on. And for those of you, I hope this is food for thought and it ignited you to make a difference in your own life. And please remember, we'll be right here waiting for you worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. This is Lily McDermott and Kathryn Rudloff wishing you love, peace, joy, and unexpected abundance. Make it the best day ever. Good job. Good job. Thank you so much.
The opinions and advice expressed on the Lillian McDermott radio show are intended for the individual callers and guests on the program and are presented to our wider audience solely for general educational purposes. Please act responsibly and consult personally with your own medical, psychological, or nutritional expert before taking any steps to improve your life.